Okay, so this is the first movie. We are starting right now our character from this base mesh. In this tutorial I will be recording audio after recording video because it's more comfortable for me, and so I will be commenting some stuff that you can see on the screen, and I will be explaining the most important stuff that we are doing here. As you see, we are starting from the simple base mesh. We are now placing it on separate layer. Other layer is for our reference, and right now we will be importing our reference image, and we will be setting up it on reference plane. And I've made this character on the image that you see before this tutorial, just for test. So we will be making similar character. So this will be our something like a concept. Yeah, so right now we are trying to set up our image. We are scaling it, trying to place it in the middle of the grid, and then we will be starting to scale our character, and we'll be trying to fit our base mesh to the proportions that we see on the image. And as I said, we've added our reference on the separate layer, so we can disable it and make it untouchable while we are modeling our character. And now we are starting to pose our character in right place, and we'll be starting changing his proportions. So as you will see, this method that I choose for making character it's really fast because we've got already our mesh completed. We have to just scale some parts of the character and match to our concept design. So we don't have to spend a lot of time on modeling. Of course, you can add some parts that you need, but it will be faster than making everything from scratch. It takes some time, of course, to set right proportions and scale everything correctly that we want to, but as I said, it's faster way. We can, of course, do same work in Zbrush, but I think for me, in my eyes, more comfortable because I have more control over my mesh, and if I want to add something or delete some parts, it's not a problem. In Zbrush, there will be some more problems with doing this, but you will have to try this way and other ways and check if it's better for you. So what I'm doing right now is deleting a half of the character, and I will use a standard trick in Maya, just make an instance of the half of the body and scale it negative x axis, and we will be just having symmetry on these pieces. So if you change one part, the second one is updating instantly. We've got, of course, a seam on the middle of the character, but it's not a problem right now. You just have to be careful while scaling some parts of the character and have it in mind that you can move some parts of the mesh a little bit too much to the center. Right now we are trying to scale arms, but as you see, we've had a little bit too much volume and our fingers just exploded. So we have to be a little bit more careful. Right now is, I think, okay. And we will be just scaling it more without hand selected. As I said, this part can be a little bit boring for some people that are a little bit more experienced. Even if it's the fastest way, it might take a few hours to set up it correctly. So even if it's few hours faster than making everything from nothing, which took sometimes all day. So we are working now a little bit on the head, but we will be sculpting our head in Zbrush, and we'll be working on this part a little bit more in Zbrush. So in Maya I don't want to touch it too much, because for face and head I think I can do this a little bit better in Zbrush rather than here. Our goal in this part of work is just set up right proportions and have a nice silhouette of the character to be able to create clothes for him and move a little bit further with our work. I will be not much concerned about details on his body, because as I said, we will be having clothes on his body. We will be having shirt and jeans, so we have to care about the right positions of the arms, right scale of his body. So yeah, right now we have destroyed some parts of around the waist. So I'm using right now a tool that is called Geometry Sculpt Geometry tool. You can paint some volumes like in Zbrush, but it's not so accurate tool like in Zbrush, but sometimes in Maya it helps. And as you see, I use a lot this soft selection tool. just select what you want. If you want select vertex or edge or polygons, you select it and press B on your keyboard, and you've got then soft selections active. As we have scaled our body, we also have to do some changes to the head, because now we have some bad proportions. Good thing is to have your ears well done in Maya before you export it, because it's easier to set up it right. You will save some sculpting time in Zbrush when you will have your ears posed correctly. And same thing about eyes, because these areas are a little bit difficult to do. We still have some bad proportions around his waist. So as you see on the reference, on our concept, we have our hands a little bit down, so we'll be moving our hands too. And if you're making your character for a game or for animation, you just have to discuss this with animation team, what they want this character to have, because some pipelines or workflows are made for T-pose, so you've got then your arms a little bit straight. Here right now you can see that they are in something like 45 degrees, and we will stay this way, because even if we move it up or move it down, it's same way, and we won't be having some distortions on the body. If we have our hands just straight, like in T-pose, when you will move it down, it will cause some major damages to the arm. So it's really important for people that do skinny skins for the animation, so you have to keep it in mind. And same thing about fingers. Sometimes you will have to just keep them straight, because somebody have to rig this thing and then animate. So you have to model your character in a certain way that will be easy to other teams to work with it. And now we are adding some more volumes to the arms, sculpting a little bit more muscles. As I said before, it's not important. Little details are not important in this part because our body will be covered by clothes. But I want to have some more visual interpretations of our character, so I do these little changes to feel a little bit better proportions of the character. It looks really different than this what we've started, but still have a far way to make it look like our concept. And you have to be really careful in these areas that you see to don't have some polygons going through another polygons, so you have to smooth this part. And of course this will be a little bit problematic area while making normal maps and ambient occlusion, so you have to keep it in mind. And again, I'm using geometry sculpt to smooth some parts. And we will be working on our face in Zbrush mostly, but we can do some major changes here right now. Not any details, of course, but some proportions and little changes. A little or major, but you will see. our head is probably a little bit too small, so I think I will be scaling it a little bit more to make it bigger. Yeah, in this case I just wanted to have my geometry a little bit smooth, so I have delayed this part of the body. The key for making our base mesh is just to have our mesh clean and simple. And of course most of our body after will be over the clothes, so we will just delete it after sculpting our shirt and our jeans. Okay, so right now I wanted to make some changes to his belly to be a little bit more defined and to feel a little bit better. So I'm just moving around, looking on this character and looking for places that should be changed a little bit. So we want to have really good defined legs because our jeans will be really close to this leg, so I want it to look good before will be starting making jeans. And our fingers are a little bit too straight, so I move them and rotate them a little bit more, and I think right after this they will be looking more relaxed and realistic. Just a little twist. So right now I have pushed some parts around his waist to mark where our jeans will be starting, so we will be knowing where our belly is and where jeans are starting. Still, I think this head needs to be bigger. So in this part it's really moving around and looking for things that don't look good yet. So for this part is almost complete. In next movie we will be still doing some little changes and trying to finish our base mesh. do some little changes before moving to Zbrush. You don't have to really care about the shape of the head, because we'll be having some big hairs, so we just to have only decent shape. Nothing really crazy. Okay, so see you in next movie.